And what about you said about belief? Because how it's perceived here, I can see that often belief goes very strongly to a sense of personal I.
That has been the habit. You see, there's a place for trust and faith and belief, but they should be there really. Trust and faith and belief should be there to support your intuition, support your I amness, to support your inquiry. You see, and not to support the person. What did I say before? That it is the mind that is inclined to imitate the self. It's never the self that is trying to imitate the mind. Mm-hmm. The self itself produced the mind or the psychological nature, and because without it, it could not have the game of existence and duality and transcendence and the kind of the friction of existence that gives rise to the aspiration to break free. Because in the original state, the self can never be bound. It can never be bound. It can never be free. It just is. Can you understand? It's totally not in that realm. And I'm speaking of that. Where is that? It's here, but it's like hidden inside. It's like hidden inside. We told you, like when I went to Russia first, and the first time I saw the Russian dolls. Somebody gave me a sort of shake, like it was like some dry pear or something. And I opened it and there's another one. Oh my God, I'm taking one shaking and I open another one inside. Oh my God, open another one. Oh my God. And then I open another one, and then there's final one there. So the final one of the Russian doll is an object. But the self is like the final one of the onion. When you come to the final skin, you pull, in the center of the onion is what? Nothing. So this center of the onion is what you are to be finding. What is the onion? The mind, the person, the things that make up the sense of a tangible world for a while. You see, the mystery is like this, is that the world appears like it's a physical thing. And that we are sort of like physical, spiritual beings living in it. And that living in the world causes trouble because of the mind and identities and so on. And so people say the world is a terrible place. And, even somebody now, we're just talking about a woman who wants to kill herself. She can't stand the world anymore. She can't stand herself. Or can't stand your projection, which is a delusion. You see? The fact that when the beings identify as entities, personal, autonomous, egoic entities, they're going to suffer the world. When they realize themselves, they don't suffer the world. They start to see the whole world has been divine all along. It didn't suddenly become divine. It was always divine. Something else was blocking its divinity. What is that thing blocking the divinity? Isn't the same thing here complaining about all these different things? See? I see sometimes some stones I've seen that they're standing on the waterfall, and the waterfall have carved a big hole in the rock with constant beating. Carved a big hole in a rock, water in a rock. But I've seen stones in which big parts have been carved by the wind. The power of the wind has carved the shape, the rocks even, hasn't it? So we are a bit like some stone under a waterfall that's just vanishing away, the beating of the waterfall. It's not the most beautiful thing. You can say you're being refined also. You see, but if you think you are the stone and you have a right to be a stone, you're going to feel the waterfall is beating the shit out of you. But if you feel that you are the spirit, then you will feel that the waterfall is refining you by removing the shit. Just depends how we take it. The more we live in the notion of a person, the more we feel like spirituality feels like it's a beating. But the more you come to realize who you are, you see that it's a very loving service. You say, my God, what do I do to deserve such grace? What have I done? I'm not doing anything at all. It's not like you can't ask God, look, I give you my life. Your life doesn't even belong to you to give in the first place. What have you got to give God? And always we're asking to give God only a rubbish. Can I leave all my bad things at your feet? Can I leave all my, why you never have anything good? Isn't it? So we have no reason to be proud, my darlings. We don't have any reason to be, to be so puffed up. What do you have to give? But ultimately, it's all nothing. It's nothing. Not nothing in the sense that, oh my God, his whole purpose was all is nothing. Not like that, because it only takes a person to say that. And another one would say it was all nothing, and the breath that speaks these words will come from the breath of God. You see. There's a song, I think it's a Sikh song. He says, let me die now so I don't have to die again later. Yeah. And I say, let me, the man that says, I want to die before I die, isn't it? All these things from a very human perspective seems very painful, so much sacrificial. So it's like it's kind of grief. But from a higher place, it's just such a marvelous bloody play, It's like it's so beautiful in another way, and yet pain we know, and pain is no joke when you feel him. I think it's good that pain is painful because it stops us being cocky. You see?
I say thank you. Actually, thank you.
Yes,
It's burning right now, but I want to say just thank you for this opportunity to be here and be in this,
yes,
wherever it is
a
right
human
now.
being's life should always be a bit on fire. It's a blessed way, The fire starts off sometimes first just like a fire, It's a good fire. When your mind change, you begin to see that it is a blessed fire. That it's only burning the unreal things, It's a blessed fire. At a certain point it starts to cool off. But not because someone decides when it's time to cool off. It just cools off. This fire is very beautiful. At the other end, it becomes just a beautiful vibration. And
yeah, there is this burning here, and I don't know, it just feels like I see that it's just not manageable in the old way. So because I see when I speak from what you just chopped, I see doesn't work like that. But there isn't yet I don't know, like there isn't a way for the person I see to whatever needs to be flushed out or needs to change. It's like it's not manageable for my present sense of myself.
yeah.
And I'm the most truthful experience is when I recognize this. You just have to just really hand yourself over. Even that, sometimes I don't know who can do that, how I can do that, but I know something is happening, but I don't know what it's doing. I don't know if this still...
If I didn't come along, maybe you wouldn't find out you don't have to understand what is happening. Because I don't tell you have to understand what is happening and how to measure yourself, nothing. The other night we were stopping at the house and we were talking. I said it's been growing inside me, this feeling to go out and to try and find who I can find, a handful of people who I feel that is kind of really, really showing the signs that it won't be difficult to just finish off this, to close the door on all of this, no? And I'm sensing that we are coming to the edge of another chapter of being together. That I should now just start to assume you have to understand what I've said, because I'm not going to repeat any more lessons on that level, and I'm going to start, sort of like calling in the chips, basically, which means that I'm going to just start to just pick on you and just say, I want this person to be sitting here now, and anybody should put questions to them, and don't be courteous, don't be soft, just ask questions like you can ask questions of me and ask of them. First you can start in the most basic ways and ask, and just keep going at it. And don't be kind, so, oh yeah, we got to, it's so and so I've got to be nice. No, just ask questions. And I'm going to just pick on people as I want and just ask you start to answer these questions for me. Because if you're fake it, I'm going to know. We're going to know. I think the Satsang, the Sangha at least, should have developed the intuitiveness to recognize, to discern when something is coming from the heart or not. So I want people to come. You don't have to imitate me. You don't have to be like me. Just be yourself and see what comes. And don't try and prepare, because you cannot prepare for it. You have to just be empty. I want to see how you live when you're empty, how you speak when you're empty, how you move when you're empty. I think it's enough of telling you these things over and over and over again, sharing with you. I want to see the fruit of that understanding. I want to see if it has been understood. And if it is understood, it's your time. I want to listen to you. And a few times I've called on people and their response have come, and I've been very satisfied. So it's very good. It's very good. It feels authentic. It feels fine. Next, like this. Because I've listened to people who have met, who come and talk, Advaita, talk, Zen Buddhism, and I feel nothing from them. They could just be coming out of some wind-up puppet or something like that, speaking those things. It have no power, it has no heart, just like, a human kind of dictionary or something, I don't know, whatever. You cannot go through life like that. Sometimes I give examples like, like I told you, if we were all sitting on the 50th floor of a building that was on fire, and, there's only one lift out of the building, and it can only take one person at a time. And the doors will only open and let you in if you drop your mind. Will you make it out of this house, burning house? And it's your turn right now. And there's 300 people behind you, in a hurry to get out. Will you make it out of this building? Because if after, 10 seconds you're not ready to get on board, if somebody's going to throw you out and say, next. Just to stimulate that thing inside that won't let you go to sleep. Because like a reflex, we go to sleep, and by going to sleep, I mean you go back to sleep in personhood. You see? But because in every other thing in the human kingdom, if you study, what is the longest thing you have to study before you graduate? I don't know, maybe a doctor or a lawyer or something. You study for 7 years or 8 years or something. You're qualified to do something. that is something that even is not even natural to you. You know, how long you need to study to be yourself? Or do you need to study even? So it is true, it is not the path that this body walked, this seeming being walked. But I can't show you that path because it doesn't want to speak like that right now in this body. They cannot say it won't. Sometimes it speaks like that. And it is true, perhaps there is just a question of a necessary maturity that has to happen, because I am smart enough to know that I cannot take this out on the street like on a placard going around telling people anything about Advaita and about waking up. I know it does not work like that. You know, I'm not interested in going to attract people. I feel some power bring them. If the power brings them without my determination or something, then it knows what you need. It will bring you what you need. So I don't expect all going around saving the planet and all this type of stuff. That's not my idea. Just if it is something that belongs to you to recognize, you may have to fight inside a bit to overthrow the whole government inside. You may have to dethrone some, you know, wicked king. But at least you're alive in your heart, you know. And you know that you're walking with the sword of God. You know. So, yeah. And sometimes I feel a certain air of, you know, just impatience. I don't know why it comes like that. If I'm eating too much chocolate or something, I don't know what it is. I just had 2 cups of coffee, maybe that's it. But I feel like a certain kind of impatience, like, you know, I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time to sort out personal problems. You know, go back to heaven, sort it out there. Now I can talk to you like that. If I tell you, go back to heaven, where are you going to go? How are you going to do about it? Or stay in heaven. How are you going to understand? Don't imagine yourself to be anything. It's none of the things you can see with your physical senses or with your mental senses. Neither the mind nor the biological or sensual or you know, psychological senses can somehow comprehend that. When you feel yourself without any association with a personhood or past or anything like this, when you feel yourself, what is it you're feeling? Without touching identity, personhood, gender, past, imagination, or memory, what is your actual experience in this moment? What is your actual experience? Is it a story? Is it something descriptive? Is it something, you know, what is your actual experience? What do you know? You go down to the fundamental self-perception. What do you actually know? What do you actually experience? Isn't it that you just spontaneously know that you are, and that somehow there's a functioning of perception, and somehow you, whatever you are perceiving it. Isn't it? Isn't that what it is? Then where does the person come into it? Where does John Brown come into it? Where does my sister and my mother come into it? Where does 2 years ago come into it? And India, where does that come into it? Maybe there's a fear in us that if we go too far, you just become a freak. Because nobody can understand you. Well, I got something to tell you. Nobody understands you anyway. Nobody understands you now. Can somebody ask more questions before we go to eat?
It's kind of a question slash this sentiment. A few months ago, Guruji asked, he says, what is it here in the world that keeps you here and not going beyond? And I really was looking at this because very clearly it came that something that was holding me in this duality was that here there's me and there's Guruji, and there's this feeling of going, when I go in, there's Guruji, and when I go beyond, there's only me. I have this prayer that if there's a step where I have to let go of my master, even of the concept of my master, that my master has to do the step for me, because I can't do that myself. I would never trust myself to do that.
The only way you can do that is to ultimately let go of you. You can let go of you and master also. When you let go of you, cannot let go of master, and you survive. And this Guruji and you has to lose all its worldly connotations, all this I and other, all this any kind of notion about it, so that you go completely beyond all phenomenality, including a sattvic phenomenality. You have to go beyond all notions, all concepts. So then all words, they vanish into this place. You see? Including Satguru. And what remains there is there's no pride is there. There's no one who has gone beyond anything at all, actually. There's no arrogance there, because that would be the worst arrogance of all arrogance. You become empty beyond the concept of emptiness, beyond the disciple master, beyond God and heaven and hell and all the concepts. This is why I don't want to speak these things out openly. Just amongst those who have the capacity to comprehend in the heart what I'm speaking about. Otherwise it will sound like blasphemy in the conditioned mind. Empty like that, beyond even the concept of emptiness. Are these words alive in you enough? Don't artificially try and push this. The grace is sufficient to keep thawing out, burning off things. All you remember is that what you've been pointed to somehow. Just keep checking, but this also is phenomenal. See? This also is phenomenal. Because when you have transcended even the notion of phenomenality, what is here is where all phenomenality sprout from. But it has now become sanctified by your own self somehow. That all the beings can appear as other, but it's become superficial. But it's also a divinity. It's also one totality. This is why I was telling you the God self, which I call, because God for me here is not a limited word. I know it can be limited in the human mind and concepts, but for me, when I speak God, is no different from saying Brahman. If I say the Ishwara state, or the Brahman state, or even the Para-Brahman state, it's not different from God for me. That's what God is. And so the God is not different from, something is being spoken through this mouth. Whether it says God or I or this or what is, it's like the same. But the words have not conquered it. The words have been expressed through consciousness, or through consciousness on behalf of that which is beyond words. That's like that. And being that. Because such a being will not emerge again in the field of the play of duality and see duality as some kind of lesser thing. There's no judgment of that. It is understood naturally that the sort of manifest play and the unmanifest are one. One is the dynamic expression of this, and one is the non-dynamic self, you can say. But let's not speak more about this. Either one intuitively knows this, but this one is not personal. To say I and Guru, I and God is not the same now. So let's not speak anything about that. When one comes to this place of feeling I, Guruji, and the self, God is the same. But you don't go say this thing. Don't go say this thing. Just see. Just see. Don't create that seeing, but just keep seeing. And it should, will, may announce itself automatically, spontaneously within you. In the non-differential state. Sometimes I hesitate from speaking some things because energetically it's blocked to say them, because to say them in the presence of some immaturity, they'll be misunderstood and become also a kind of trap in themselves. You see? Where people try to say, quickly try and go beyond the I am without really understanding what I am is. Because I say when you're in the position to observe the I am, you're beyond. They try to be in this beyond, but there's still a person trying to be in the beyond. So this is the kind of thing where I say that when the saying goes, when the student is ready, the master appears. No, it follows through on every level, even in the most subtle thing. The student meaning somehow the consciousness which is still wearing some amount of identity with the beingness and the becomingness or the person. You see? One's life become very empty of intention. It seems to play intention, like some force is driving the energy to create or something like this. But at the same time, the imagination is not stretching to try and be in the future of any projection. It is always complete. This is why I say, if the world ends tonight, do you have any regret about it? Is there sufficient trust in you that all is well, and somehow it will continue unfolding even with more greater beauty and more whatever, or not? But I don't see how it cannot. But that's not because one is attached to beauty. Because the self cannot suffer. And yet it's not that, put it to any situation. It's its nature to manifest or to radiate harmony and beauty somehow. The ugly, so to speak, it only creates through the mind in order to use that friction to enjoy more its perfectness. I guess you can say.
It's just
The harmony, the beauty, the love, the completeness is all here. Not waiting for anybody to discover it, actually. It is here. What is it that denies it? Can that tongue be relied upon for accurate evidence of anything? You see? It is one's natural state. And yet it seems to be not our experience. This is why I ask you from time to time these days, does my words ring any bells in you? Does it speak to you? Because when I'm losing that reference, like I told you, to evaluate what your experience is inside, because you claim to be in a certain position, and I know there's only the self, and I'm losing the reference to identify with your position. And something seems to persist in such loyalty or such belief, sort of like, unchallenged, premise that we are this person we are speaking from, and it just feels like such an uphill thing. Where is, when I ask you, where is the peace until it is discovered? Where is the self until it is recognized? This is what I'm asking. See?
Just feeling like saying yes. Just feeling like saying yes. Yes to truth.
Yeah.
Yes to truth.
You and yes are the same. I and consciousness are the same. It's amazing that out of consciousness has produced this vast dictionary of meanings, and yet it's all one thing. Out of one thing has come all these meanings, but all of them come out of I. Like I was making this thing, I tell you that the letter I is the slimmest letter in the whole alphabet, and yet the whole universe is hiding behind it. That the I has to understand itself. It has to be understood what is I. Because on each layer it appears. On the layer of the body, it seems to think I am the body. It thinks I am the mind and conditioning. It thinks I am the beingness that observes the body, mind, and the person. And it also knows I am that which observes the I amness and the beingness itself. And are we aware of these varying levels from which we speak? And how rare or how often are we speaking from the position of the absolute, or from the position of the weakness or the sense of presence? And how often when we say I, we are speaking in reference to I am the body, mind, and person. And if you become aware of this, it's going to do something. It's going to do something. It's either going to show you that it becomes completely unbearable to you, that how often when you speak, you're speaking as person. Yeah, it will become disgusting, actually, in some kind of form. But it's good that we see it, not just hear about it. You must actually experience that the I, because as I said before, God says I am. But the devil also say I am. And the person says I am. And which is the true I am? Are they all I am? And is there an I am which is fixed? Or is the I am I refer to as the immaculate concept? The immaculate conception, actually. The firstborn. Out of the womb of I am comes all other concepts. And to the I am, they all report to the I am. But to what does the I am report? Because in deep sleep, the I am goes into oblivion. Where does it go? And out of what does it come? And what knows this thing? You see. Are we going to suspend the answers to these questions? Or are you going to find out how much time is required, see? In the human form, the I am, in every aspect, to the highest, it is there to be expressed and to be recognized. How far has it come in each form? To what extent does it know itself? So this, for me, is the fundamental question. Not what the I am perceives as other, but what is the I am and what perceives I am also. Just by knowing this, you have come to the master key to somehow comprehending the nature of this universe and the one who is experiencing it. Don't imagine a mystical thing. It's enough if you come to know that even in the waking state, this body and the one who appears to be the resident in this body, with its actions and reactions and interactions and its wishes, its past, its future, its aspirations, are seen to be phenomenal collectively. And in knowing this, something seems to be set free for all time. Okay, thank you for now. Thank you. Very good, very good.